Greetings and welcome to part 10 of the Music Is series. I am Tali Lotus, the founder of Come As You Are Audio Enterprise and Sound System. And today is part 10. I'm joined by an amazing being. Today, I have been fortunate enough to interview the likes of Young Warrior Sound System, Terry Hooligan, Scratch DJ, the Peckins, Keisha G, and many, many more. And obviously the Music Is series is all about what music means to these individuals who are, creatives at heart, whether it's at their performers, whether it's at their engineers, DJs, record shop owners, etc. Music is a key component of their livelihood and their liberty. And even more so, why I've got this amazing being on as part 10, Dr. Nish Rani, who is going to bless us with the whole connection of music and medicine. So without further ado, over to you, my love.
Blessings, blessings, blessings to everyone who's tuned in today and watching us. A big thanks to you for having me today and allowing me to be part of this amazing series where we can really express ourselves and share lots of our personal experiences, and hopefully these are things that you can all relate to as well. So yeah, it's been a journey. I mean, how we met in itself has been a blessing, and how we've stayed in touch and how that's sort of shaped us on our musical journeys.
No, absolutely. It's how we met, I think, is just that in itself was a bit of magic. Obviously, we met via a dub session, obviously.
Yeah.
It was just like energy, and it was really, those spaces are very equal, and I think meeting individuals in that kind of space allows for so much growth, and whether it's imminent or further along down the line, down the path, you really do. The energies that are there are very similar and kindred spirits, so I think that's why we've been able to remain as we have, in touch, distant but in touch. And it's been really, really amazing watching your journey. Obviously you're a newly graduated qualified doctor, so I can't even begin to describe how proud that makes me, and the fact that obviously you're very much a root sister and sing and what have you. It's a real achievement and a real example of I just think feminine energy at its highest kind of highest level. So yeah, big up to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. They're such beautiful words, honestly. Sometimes I need a moment to sort of take that in. Mm-hmm. As I said in previous conversations that we've had, it takes me a moment to take all that in. But yeah, on this journey of medicine, the root scene and music, and as you mentioned, singing has been a massive part in that. And yeah, so and us meeting at those sessions just really it just expresses how powerful music is and its power to connect us, and something that you mentioned about sort of kindred spirits coming together and people on the same wavelengths with a lot of the time similar ideologies and similar experiences that they've sort of been through. And the root scene has really allowed us to connect in that way. And even though we haven't been in touch or in contact all the time, it's kind of like a vibration where you don't need to be in contact all the time. And when you are in contact, it's always a beautiful encounter.
Absolutely. So I'm going to dive right in there and ask you the very first question, which is, how has music impacted your life? Tell me a bit about, I suppose what it does, and what part it plays in your life.
Music has always been a massive part in my life. I think growing up, I was always surrounded by music and at family events. I always had, we always had instruments at home. We always had Punjabi folk instruments at home, drums and stringed instruments and keys. So I was always really involved in music. But music really helps me to express myself, and I think so many people can relate to that. It's just one of the highest forms. It brings together poetry and metaphor and emotion, and just, you get certain songs that you listen to and you remember them forever, or you listen to a certain song and it takes you back to such an important time in your life. And for me, music's really helped me to, as I say, express myself. And that's been actually a really important part of my journey when it's come to my self-healing. Mm-hmm. I went through a few years ago, I went through an issue with my own health, and I had a swollen throat, and it was something called, and the doctors wanted to put me on a lifetime hormone replacement, and I knew within myself, because I'm quite connected with myself, I'm connected with my emotions, and I'm connected with everything that I've been through, and really, it's something that I kind of take pride in, and something that I try to teach others to do as well, because I know how important that is. Mm-hmm. And so when it came to this health issue, I recognized that I wasn't expressing myself. The throat center was just so blocked. Mm-hmm. And the thing that got me through that was the singing. The swelling in my throat went down, and I just felt a sense of peace and bliss, and I really got to know myself so much more through singing. Wow. And roots music played a massive role in that. I recorded a song a few years back called Intense, and that was all about me expressing myself and sending my message out into the world through word, sound and power, through a genre of music that I think is so medicinal, so spiritually uplifting, and just so real and raw. And it really just helped me to be authentic. And I also used that song to sort of portray what I know my soul mission is. So obviously you mentioned me being a doctor, and so being a doctor is, not only a job for me, it's my art and it's my craft, just as music is. So both of them have really, really been intertwined and massively. And sort of going on from that, not only did singing really help me from a young age. I've been drumming, so I play the Punjabi drum. It's called the dhol. It's really imminent in Bhangra music, and I think because my spirit is quite old, and we were speaking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. Because my spirit is quite old, I feel like I'm quite in touch with my roots and ancient practices and ancient traditions. And if you go back to the drum and how it used to be used in ancient traditions, and sort of going back to tribal times when we used to gather around fires and tell our stories and share all of our experiences, it was the drum that was the first. It was a drum. Yeah, the drum was the drum sort of connected everybody, and it's a metaphor for the heart as well. There's no coincidence that we say that the heart beats like a, and later on, when I started really analyzing these things and looking at my passions and sort of fusing it into my life, as you know, into my craft, I became quite aware that I really had a knack for listening to the heart. So when I'm with patients, and you know, I do I'm in a process of diagnosing, I always had a knack for being able to hear when the heart was out of rhythm, and when there were sounds there that shouldn't necessarily be there. So hearing murmurs and hearing arrhythmias. And I realized that it was my connection with music and drumming and just feeling vibration. It does play a massive role in how I connect with my patients, because in essence, we're all vibration, and many diseases and illnesses are just a disbalance of our energy centers. And dis-ease is just that. It's a dis-ease. You know, it's when we're not at ease, we're not at harmony, our energy is just not quite synchronized. And then it manifests in the physical body as, you know, as illness and disease. No. So yeah, music's played a massive role.
Wow, that is so incredible. Like all the things that you've touched upon in terms of your singing, your own personal disease and illness, and how you're able to really refute, you know, I suppose, overcome that was again via music. So it's incredible, because I know maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, you know, like when, as you said, you're so in tune with your body, you just know what is for you and what isn't for you, but then when you're able to actually identify healing, I think that's an incredible skill, you know. And again, how you're able to you've been really able to not even being able to, you're natural, you're gifted in being able to detect that in other people as well. So it's incredible. Music and the impact that it has in your life is almost like a blessing onto others, you know. So it's incredible, really incredible. So tell me about your first recollection of music. When was that? Where was that? How did that all start? Obviously, as we've said, we met via, you know, root sessions and dances and what have you, but I know it started way before that. Your spiritual faith, you know, and the role that plays in it is, again, just a huge foundation, I think, in what's created you into the woman that you are today. So tell me a bit about your first recollections of music.
So, as I said, music was a big part of my livelihood, and I know that I owe that to my culture, to my parents, to my ancestors, to my family. You know, we took any excuse to celebrate, and music was always, you know, at the center of that. You know, we always connected with each other through music and, you know, through singing. So my first recollections, you know, I think it goes back to the womb. Now, this is not something I consciously remember, but it's funny because certain songs that I knew my mum listened to throughout her pregnancy with me, they sort of became songs that were really sort of invoked a real emotion in me, you know. One of those songs was the Fugees, Killing Me Softly. And, you know, that song always reminds me of my mum. And, you know, that it really reminds me of the, you know, how important the mother-baby connection is. So, you know, when we as women, when we do carry children, they take on our vibration and our energy and, you know, how we feel and the things that we expose them to. Which, you know, through analysing that's also become something that I've become really interested in women's medicine. And when it comes to the well-being of fetus and, you know, how we bring children into the world, you know, as women being literally a portal from the spiritual realm into the physical, we're you know, the way bringers of a new souls. But sort of after the womb, it was, you know, my parents always had music playing loud, and it's probably why I always play my music loud, you know. And probably why I really enjoy sound system. I love sound system so much, and that's probably one of the reasons why. So yeah, it's literally just always been there. Music's always been there.
Wow.
And my brother as well, he's quite musically gifted. He plays guitar, he drums, but he just plays for himself, sort of thing. My dad used to dance in Bhangra teams. That's the traditional Punjabi dance. And you know, I sort of went on to dance in Bhangra teams as well. I won a couple of competitions in London and played at university teams, and yeah, and I also played Dole at the Caribbean Carnival in Leicester.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was a brilliant, amazing experience, because there is such a connection between Punjabi music and roots music, and
it's the drum every time. It's the drum.
Yeah,
it is a drum.
It shares a commonality, and even in Punjabi music, there are so many fusions with reggae and, you know, raga sound, you know, going to the likes of Bali Sagoo, and so many remixes that you hear nowadays. Most of my favorite Punjabi remixes are reggae and raga remixes.
Honestly, and yeah, as we know, there's a lot of correlation between Sikhism, and I just think the music definitely, and obviously because of that, they do have a huge presence in the scene as well. It's like they definitely, it's all interrelated, and they definitely, from what I've seen, feel it in a very similar way. It comes down to the drum, and I think, you know, because there is such a huge emphasis on the drum in roots, in dub, and, you know, in I don't know what the derived music genre would be, but in that there is a lot of focus on, or emphasis on, the drum. I think it's why there are so many Sikh brothers in roots raves.
Yeah, there are so many Sikh brothers in roots raves. Usually when I go to a lot of shaka dances, that's where you know, you see them at, and it's always a pleasure to see that. Mm-hmm. And what's so beautiful about that is that, you know, we all feel that music. I'm even getting shivers talking about it, because it's something special. And what I think, what I know that is that I think we all feel that going to a dance is a real meditation, you know, beyond the physical, it's a real meditation. You just feel it in your spirit. And it's life-changing. When I first went to my first dance, it was life-changing. I really found one of the most beautiful vibrations that I've ever felt, you know. Mm. And since that, I've always looked forward to coming to dances. Just always look forward to it. It's a real healing.
No, absolutely. I relate, because I kind of have done a lot of raving in various different genres, but it wasn't until I wouldn't say stumbled, but I think I grew and was led into the roots kind of space, that I finally felt a sense of belonging. I felt like I could be my authentic self, hence why the sound and everything I do is Come As You Are. That's my brand, you know, because it was very much like the opportunity to be myself. And I to this day, I've only felt that within roots and dub sessions, because you can, not saying that's all about how you appear and the physical materialism of it, but there was something about just being equal and just being spiritual that I haven't been able to, I don't think exists in other spaces. So yeah, no, it's a real blessing when you do find it. It's a real blessing. So I hear you completely.
Something that you touched on about everybody being equal at dance, and going and feeling so free. I think they're two of the most important things when you go to a dance. And now touching on equality, that is exactly what Sikhism is derived on. That's the basis of our teachings, and that is why Sikhism actually came about, because at the time that it was founded, which was something that we celebrate in this period, we celebrate Vaisakhi as the founding of the brotherhood, Sikhism, and it was all about equality, because at that time people were being discriminated for their caste, and your caste sort of was an identification to do with your job, your title, and people's surnames back in that time were an indication of what you did as a living. So the final guru, the final guru at that time, he gave all men the name Singh, which means lion, and all women should have the surname Kaur, which is princess. So there was, so that the lion in Rastafari teachings is a very strong symbol. So for the Singhs, it's also a very strong symbol. It's a symbol of strength and, persevering through challenges, and, a real symbol of power.
I think we should write a paper on it. I think it would be brilliant.
Do you know what? That would be brilliant. I'd love to do that.
I think we really should, because just hearing it and the connection between it doesn't have to be anything long, but it could be, I just think that would be amazing, just to kind of bridge it together. And just the fact that I said I felt equal, and how that then how you were able to interpret that and relate it to Sikhism, and obviously then Rastafarianism, and then obviously we came together by the root scene. It's incredible. I think
it's incredible.
It's done. I think that's what we're going to do, or co-write or co-author a short paper on spirituality, connectivity, and whatever else we decide. But I think that would be amazing. It's just fascinating just hearing about it all. It's really incredible.
I'm really looking forward to that. I love writing. It's a real nice way to sort of express things and bring things together, and it's a brilliant message to sort of send out in terms of unity and sharing a commonality there.
Absolutely. And so how did you first get involved in, obviously in music? We know how you got involved in the whole root scene, but tell me how you're singing. You're singing. How did that, or how did you first become involved in music? And then, tell me about the singing as well.
So I think with singing, it was a later thing. I was always interested in music anyway. I've always felt it in my blood and bones, without doubt. So in my earlier years, I was drumming, and sort of playing a bit of keys when I was younger. And the funny thing is, with singing, I used to do it only when nobody was at home. I used to be alone because I was very shy. I was very, very shy when it came to expressing my voice as a singer. And I think it was I think I'd had a gathering with a group of friends one day, and I was just singing something, and they after that they said, it's the first time that we've heard you sing. How come we've only sort of heard you sing now? And I said, I've been very shy, and even now I can still be very shy.
Wow.
And
Bless you.
I think it's because when you use your own body as an instrument, it's literally an extension of your own vibration, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you can feel very, very vulnerable singing. So yeah, that's how things sort of came about. But it was the thing that really got me singing was the type of music that I would sing to. And it used to be a lot of soul and R&B, music with a lot of feeling and emotion, and real big voices like Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill, and Alicia Keys. They were sort of my inspirations growing up when I was singing. And having those artists as your inspiration, not only as singers, but they really embodied music. And being able to sort of feel music so deeply, and then being able to, do something similar, it just gave me a little bit more confidence in myself to just to pursue it a little bit more. And obviously, I think with the encouragement of people around me, I'd just send little snippets here and then. People would be shocked, and they'd say, "That's not your voice. That's not your voice." And I think that really expresses how, when I do sing, I'm in a different realm. I'm literally in a different realm. I'm not the same person, for example, if I'm just having a conversation with you, or, doing a day-to-day task. And I think being singing, or being able to be in touch with any instrument, or even if you're dancing or listening to your favorite song, and when music really takes you, it's really a meditation. It takes you to realms beyond. And that's why it's so powerful and so important.
Oh, wow. Incredible. I can so relate to that. What would you say was your most impactful song? What song do you think, wherever I hear it, like for me, it's the Abyssinians, Declaration of Rights. That was the actual tune that inspired me. It was like I had an epiphany. I was at Channel 1. It was Carnival, and it was just like, it was just like the sweet spot. It was like it was magic. It was literally like magic.
Yeah.
And I went home and I dreamt that I had a sound system, and then I phoned the sister-in that I went there with, and I was like, I had a dream that I had a sound system, and she said to me, and you can make it happen. And I was like, I could actually. And she said, if you did, you'd probably leave the dancers a lot cleaner than the men, kind of thing, in terms of tidy up. So it's incredible. Like that's one song did that. And I know for some people there are a few, but for me it was that song. What is it for you?
That's amazing. I'm going to answer your question, but you know what you just told me there, it's so powerful, because it really expresses how, when music is on a certain vibration, mm-hmm. and when it gives us those epiphanies, like it opens, when it's on that vibration, it can open us up as a channel, and it's like the divine can speak to us through that, and sort of give you those epiphanies that put you on your soul purpose, put you on your soul journey to really live your purpose. And it's incredible to see you have manifested that from a vision.
It was just a moment. It was literally just a moment, Nish, and from that moment, you were here, we're discussing CAYA, there's a sound system, there's an enterprise. From one moment, that was it. That's it. Yep. So yeah, it's incredible the way that music again is able to impact. So yeah, incredible, incredible, incredible. But tell me about your song. What's your most impactful song?
So my most impactful song, it's an old Punjabi folk song, and it's called Teri Aam Main Teri Ranja, and that translates to I'm your Ranja. And this song is like, it's an old school, it's a very old story about Heer Ranja, and these two individuals, if I explain it in the simplest of ways, it's like a Romeo and Juliet story, and there've been many songs about it, about this story. And the reason why it's so impactful for me was because it invokes so much nostalgia, and in terms of connection and just the love and unity between family or just people that you love, you know, whether the song was on a romantic level, but that song was played on my first birthday, and you know, I always, with my family, we sort of used to go back and watch the VHS recordings, because back in those days, you know, in the family we all used to have our chess recorders, and every time I hear that song now, it just invokes something so strong in my spirit, that gives me such a love for simplicity as well, because folk music is very simple. It's only around 3 or 4 instruments, including, you know, the instrument of the voice. We usually have a drum, some keys, and a stringed instrument called a tumbi. And then obviously you'd have the artist singing with his raw voice, his raw emotion. And this particular artist was a very, very famous artist, because, you know, his voice, even up to now, it's just unmatched. And he is a legend in Punjabi music. And he inspired me so much to actually draw a portrait of him. So sort of outside of music and medicine, I'm an artist as well. And I had so much joy sort of recreating that image. So yeah, that's probably one of the most important songs to me. Yeah, because it just brings so much memory of connection and joy, so much joy. And that's something actually that I've been thinking about lately, about you know, seeing so many people being happy in life and feeling like they're not on their sort of soul's journey, sort of what they're sort of think that they're supposed to be doing, whether it's in their job or anything else. And I actually watched Disney's Soul film a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you've seen it. And actually in that film, it's very musically based. And I won't spoil it too much, but the message in that film was literally, you know, we don't have to make so much purpose when it comes to life. If you're bringing joy and you're being in joy, you know, and you're in a state of bliss, that's the highest vibration that you can bring in. And that vibration sends out ripples to beings on the earth. So yeah, anything that brings us joy and bliss. And that song for me brings me that.
Incredible, incredible. Going to the complete other end of it, you know, we've spoken about how you first got started, most impactful song. Now I'd like to ask, without music, where would you be?
So yeah, that's a funny question, because without music, I actually wouldn't be here, because my parents met at a daytimer in their teens, you know, when they're about 15, 16 years old. And I literally can't imagine myself without music. Without music, I wouldn't have been conceived. I wouldn't be here. My parents wouldn't have met. So there's literally literally the answer is I wouldn't be here without music. So, you know, that vibration created me.
Honestly, and yeah, you just know that from such a, you know, being your actual creation coming from the source of music, why, you know, you're multifaceted in the way that you are, all really with this core element of music is no surprise, because you were created, you know, very much as a result of it. You know, it's yeah, it makes a lot of sense, you know, on so many levels. And so, yeah, very similar to me and, you know, my parents meeting and my dad's having a sound system and so on and so forth. I don't think, yeah, another thing is the reason why, you know, it's really, yeah, there's so much in it. Like I grew up with my dad having a sound system, but then in my adolescence, I really struggled, really struggled. And it was music that kind of got me through, listening to music and just really being able to, it just took me somewhere else. You know, I literally was able to transcend everything that was all the issues via music. And no, it wasn't roots at that point. It was just music that I was into. But it was almost like music became my friend. And so when I speak about CAYA, it's almost like CAYA is now a physical my sound is a physical representation of that that friend, you know, that invisible friend. So yeah, it's so deep and it runs so, yeah, I can so relate. Basically I can so relate.
You are music. You are music. You are a manifestation of it, aren't you?
Yes, I think we both are, definitely. And so finally, I always get my guests to say music is, and then finish the statement. Like for me, music is my healing. It's my love. It's my future. It's so much things to me. It's my peace. It's everything. What is music to you?
Music's a lot of things to me. You know, it's my life. But if I had to explain it using maybe 3 key words, I would say music is medicine, music is connection, and music is vibration. I've shared with you my own sort of personal experiences with medicine and music, and you know how I've healed my own being and my own things through music. And there are a lot of talks in medicine and a lot of research happening about the power of music when it comes to healing the physical body. Now that there's a balance in that, because certain manifestations of physical ailments need other modalities. But if we want to talk about keeping a sense of balance in the body, a sense of homeostasis, music is so powerful in doing that. Because yeah, and that takes me to the point that I said that music is vibration. Because if we take the human body and really go down into a microscopic level and see that we're cells, and from the components of cells, component of most things and us, we're atoms, you know. And 3 of the most important components of an atom are an electron, neutrons, and protons. And in every atom, electrons are always moving. You know, there's always movement. There's always a vibration there. We always say that atoms are vibrating. So if we're composed of these atoms, it really shows us that we're always vibrating. And it makes me go on to sort of think about how the mindful use of music is very important for health as well. I'm actually, so I work in a hospital, but I also do holistic therapy, and I do Reiki, and I do massage, And sound healing is a big part of that, because I use particular frequencies to aid people to get into a certain level of consciousness. Because what happens is, with certain frequencies, it synchronizes with the brain. So you've heard about alpha waves, beta waves, theta, delta. And when we're in a dream state, we're in a certain frequency. Our brain waves are at a certain level. And by doing that, it really helps me to go deep into the subconscious level with somebody. And like you said, the dream state, and sort of where you've had your epiphanies as well, sort of being with music and being in that meditative conscious vibration and that frequency, that's where so much healing happens. And with connection, I think music really gives us that, it helps us to share that common love, that I've gone to different raves, or been involved in different types of genres of music, and I have to say that in roots music I have made friends for life. We all share that same wavelength. It's how can I say, who knows it, who feels it knows it. And it's just that same wavelength, that same vibration. And that's what's connected us all, is that vibration of music.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, Han. It has been honestly an education. I enjoy learning, and from this recording, from this live, it's just been an absolute pleasure to hear and just be inspired. I'm very, very much inspired. And obviously we spoke about the paper, which we will release, and we will do. I think that will be phenomenal, just all the different perspectives. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you as my 10th guest on Music Is. And I'm just sending so much positive vibrations and love from me to you. And anything that you'd like to say?
Giving it with a big open heart, and I'm sending you the same back. And I just want to say a big thanks for having me here today. And there's one last thing that I'd like to say. Something that you spoke about with creation, and one last line that I sort of want to leave with. In the beginning there was sound.
Very, very, very much. And that's it. In the beginning there was sound.
And
honestly, it's part of the core, isn't it? It is part of the core. But thank you so much, Han. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yes, I